It is November out in the garden, and let's play everybody's favorite game, Do I Need to Cover This? You're probably seeing a lot of content of people covering their rows, pulling things into their greenhouses, and if you're a new gardener, you may not understand why you need to do this with some plants and why some plants can just survive the winter. I'm going to try to break it down pretty easily for you. Now, this does not apply to every single plant, but this gives you a good base of what you need to be doing. Let's break this up into categories so you can easily remember. So the first thing we're going to talk about are your perennial plants. Perennials are like a long-term relationship. They're going to come back every year for you, but you need to make sure that you're planting them per your zone. If you do not know what your growing zone is, then go right here, put in your zip code, and it will tell you what your growing zone is. The importance of this is we'll tell you your first frost date, your last frost date, but also how cold does your area get. This is very important when you're planning out your perennials because you need to make sure that your perennials are going to work in the area you have. If you plant a perennial that does not survive the cold winter that you have, then it is not going to come back next year. So let's take this rose bush behind me right here. Here is its little plant tag that I've kept. So it is hardy down to -10 degrees. Thank the Jesus, it does not get less than -10 degrees here. So I know that this is going to come back. I'm not going to do anything with this plant. You could put a little bit of mulch around the bottom of it if you wanted to, but it's not necessary. It's going to die back and it's going to come back when the temperatures tell it needs to in the spring. This beautiful butterfly bush is also a really great example of a perennial. It dies back every single year. Ooh, there comes the sun. Anyway, it comes back every year once it gets warm out again. Now let's move on to your annuals. I always place these in cold tolerant and non-cold tolerant because I need to know what to cover when this storm right here moves in tonight. This little guy right here is a volunteer tomato. I have no idea what it is. It's just growing. It's not going to survive these cold temperatures, even if I put a frost blanket on it, most likely, because the temperatures are going down to 20, and tomatoes do not like that. This little pepper plant right here, same thing. They don't really like temperatures under 50 degrees, so I'm not going to cover this because I know it's not going to survive the winter. I could dig this up and put it in the house, but I already have lots of plants that need to go in the house, so I've got to make some sacrifices. So the lesson here is your non-cold tolerant annuals, just let them go. They're going to die. They're not going to come back. You'll just have to rebuy those next year. So now let's talk about a few things that I will be trying to save. If you've planted a fall garden, most likely the things that you have chosen are frost tolerant. That does not mean that this is going to have a snowstorm on top of it and survive, but a lot of times you can put a frost blanket over these if you just have a couple days of really, really cold temperatures, and they will be able to come back from that. These cabbages are another perfect example. They can survive down into the 20s. And after this couple days of a cold snap, we're going to have some nicer temperatures. And I want to give these a chance to grow and give me the biggest cabbages that they can. So I'm just going to give them a little bit of help with a frost blanket. So the moral of the story is here that if you have some cold tolerant plants, you can absolutely extend their life cycle. I have a video on what I use for this, but I use very thick painters, tarping, or cloth, or I actually will use the clear plastic bins that you can buy at the big box stores just to help protect it from the frost. Now, if you have warm annuals like this beautiful Thai basil, you're going to have to let this plant go. I'm going to trim off all of these leaves. I'm going to collect my seeds so that next spring I can plant them again. And for your beautiful flowering perennials, you can absolutely give them a little winter blanket with some mulch, but you can leave these and these will come back and bless you again in the spring. Hopefully this will help you to decide what needs to be brought into your house, what can be extended for a few more weeks, and what you're going to have to give up to the winter gods. If you have any questions, just drop them right here below and give me a follow so we can start our gardens together in 2026.